Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is James. This is the Classic Movement channel, and this is actually episode 3 of a series that I started just a few days ago, and really happy that I'm at episode 3 already. Things are moving along really well, and the process is actually a lot of fun. I'm having a lot of fun learning how things are done, and it's really cool. If this is the first time you're here, I encourage you to go watch episode 1 and 2. Give you a lot of context on the reason why I started YouTube. And if you're coming back, well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I really have a high understanding of how precious time is, and I really appreciate the fact that you're actually spending your time with me right now. So thank you. I'm doing things kind of like in the similar style as the last episode here. I'm not reading anything off of a prompter. I don't like a lot of people using our AI basically to write scripts for them, and then they read it off of a screen and stuff. And I'm not going to do that. I want to avoid being somebody who's like artificial. This is me. This is who I am. I'm going to stumble. I'm going to kind of like have problems expressing myself. I also speak 3 languages, if I hadn't mentioned that before. So sometimes when you have so much, sometimes you have a tendency to jump to another language when your vocabulary is not like coming to you right away. And I'm trying to stay in the English language here, but being from Montreal, only people from Montreal will understand this. We constantly jump from French and English in mid-phrase. You know, mid-phrase we'll switch over. It's a very Montreal thing, and I'm trying to avoid that. So I'm staying in English the whole time, and it makes it difficult because, well, that's not something I'm used to. But I'll get better at it, and I figured the more of these I do, the more I'll improve my expression, like my way of communicating with people. And if this is something that I do regularly, it might become even a skill. Just the ability to speak properly and decisively, not stumble and it's a skill. So I'll maybe get better at it, and it might serve me down the road for some purpose, you know, who knows. So this video, I'm gonna split it into 2 parts, similar like the last video. So the first part is going to be mostly axed towards my progression in the whole endeavor of basically starting my own thing, my own business as an entrepreneur, and where I stand, where I am with that right now, a little progress report. And then we'll head on to the other portion, which is mostly artistic, and my latest design. And yeah, that's how I'm kind of splitting up this whole thing. There's no cuts, no nothing going on. If whatever happens, hopefully my wife won't drop anything on the ceiling. She's right above me in the kitchen. But I'm in the basement. This is my work area. This is where I basically work from, build games, and also now my station, my official YouTube station and background. You're seeing my home theater in the background, which is one of the things I always wanted as a kid, to watch great movies at home and be comfortable in the whole sound system and everything. And truth be told, I don't come down here all that much, maybe because I spend so much time at my workstation that you want to kind of get away from where you work. So anyways, but I still enjoy it when I'm here. So anyways, so progress report, guys, on the entrepreneurial adventure that I'm on. I have big news for me anyways. It might not be for a lot of people, but I might have mentioned in the last video that I sent out my request for starting a personal company in the eyes of the government, and I want things to be legit. And I finally got confirmation today by email. So I'm officially a registered personal company now, for whatever it's worth. It just means that I'm legal and I can take the next important steps that I'm counting on taking, which is opening a bank account, a business bank account that's specific to this and nothing more. You really need to keep your stuff separate from personal and business, from what I'm learning. And then I could apply for some domain names and stuff. And also I'm looking at social media and which platforms would work best for what I need. And also if I'm going into t-shirts, maybe which print on demand service is best. I still haven't made up my mind on that, you know. So that's pretty much it. That's kind of taken care of. Other than that, we can now maybe look at the artistic portion of where I'm at, and what I'm gonna show you is again kind of like the first video. I started in. I'll tell you the story. You know what? It's just best that I just show you. Let's just dive into it, and I'll tell you all about it. All right, so here we are, guys. Something a little different on this one is you see how I went straight to making faces, and I'm not even sure why I did that. And he starts looking like somebody from the 80s, and then I move on to this more cartoony face. I'm unlocking my wrist again, just trying to figure out, just trying to loosen things up and get in the beat. And sometimes something appears from it. It usually starts with a face, and all of a sudden I started drawing more of a body and a position, something that, I don't know, there was something about, I started looking at pictures that I had of the NSX, and I started thinking of an angle, like there was one that had a nice angle that I liked. It was very low to the ground. And I figured how the character might fit into it. And if you notice, I just started drawing the character before even having the photograph of what I took in the frame. And you see there how one of the great things about Procreate is how you can like cut sections and resize them quickly, and you don't have to erase anything. It's not like the old days when I was on paper where I had to erase the entire thing if I wasn't happy with it and redo it. So here I bring in the car, a picture of my car, and I'm already adding the outline, although I think I set that aside for a bit, and I start focusing on her. And I was a little lazy, guys, at the beginning. Like, this was originally supposed to be a print. I'm thinking at the very beginning, to be honest with you guys, I thought I was just gonna make prints. It was the easiest thing, and hand sign them if I added any kind of value to it. And it was much later on where I figured maybe the t-shirt things would be better. I think mostly because I like the idea of wearing a t-shirt of something that I made, and to see somebody else wearing it would be a thrill, an absolute thrill, that actually somebody cares about my art that much. So, but originally, you see, it's very much in like a horizontal aspect ratio right now. I really thought that worked for t-shirts as well, but later on, as I started to explore the t-shirt thing and watching content about people who are doing it, I discovered that a vertical format is way, way, way better than a horizontal one. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I guess my prints, if I ever do both t-shirt and prints, will have to be vertical. So here you're seeing a very, very common process. We all do this as artists. The best ones do this as well. Is when you have something rough and dirty and it's kind of messy, often the best thing to do is just to draw over what you did. I did this when I was a kid as well. We'd use a light source, or we'd put it up against the patio glass, so the light would shine into the house and it would allow you to see what's behind your paper. And you just try to clean up your lines as much as possible, and it would avoid having even though you had an eraser, because we get aggressive on the pencil, it would leave some tracing behind, and you'd never have a really clean image. So the best thing would be to copy it on a second paper. So you're copying yourself. It's not really cheating. And in the digital world, we do the same. You're basically copying a layer above your work. You're playing with the transparency of the art below, and then you go over it and you try to make it as clean as possible. So here, hey, that being said, look what's happening here as I'm trying to clean her up and maybe possibly improve certain things. And I'm trying things out, okay? I'm not sure of it. You're seeing a lot of flashing. I'm playing with the original layer as well to see how it compares. And here I got her looking away from the camera. I'm like, oh, that's an interesting thing. She's not really looking directly, but I'm not sold completely on it. It's part of the process. You got to try different things when you're not working from a reference. It could turn into something magical later on, but eventually I end up settling on the original sketch. I find it looked better. There's something about her look, and I guess I went heavy on the eyeshadow, and I just liked it. So what I decided to do was to invest the time and clean up the original. And actually I did like a hybrid between the original and the cleaned up layer that I was mentioning before. And I kept some elements from the original sketch, and I added other ones from from the new layer basically. And once I settled on that, now I'm coming in with some little highlights and shadows, and you can see that yeah, you have the occasional ghost, what do you call that, like a ghost input. It's when your finger accidentally touches a portion of screen. And this is before I discovered the glove, which is I made it myself basically, but artists have this. And you put this glove on, and basically it just covers your last 2 digits, and it prevents you from adding an accidental input on the screen. So I hadn't really discovered that yet. Actually, sometimes I get lazy and I forget to put it on because it makes my hand hot. Eventually I'm gonna invest and buy a lightweight one. So now you can see I'm basically working on the car a little more and the background. And originally I was using the background from the photo, and I did an overdraw again with it and playing with the colors, and I'm adding shadow. And you're gonna see now the specular. There you go. There's the specular. There it goes. I like what she's looking like, and she definitely has more of a cartoony look about her. And I want the things to be a little bit more seamless. So you're gonna notice here, I'm playing with the car and I try to remove the specks. Then the girl's, her tone, her skin tone, and the overall lighting here isn't working, as much as I would like it to be. And I'm gonna start playing with that. I'm playing with a lot of the highlights in her hair as well, and glows as well. Like I like to add a little touch of a glow as the light is hitting the shiny parts of the image. So there's a lot of that, little tweaks here and there, constantly. You see how the shadow, I made it more purplish there. You try to avoid black as a shadow color. You try to give it a tint. If it's daytime, bluish is always a good one to go with. You try to match the color of the sky as a shadow color. That's my go-to since it's nighttime. So, okay, I gotta stop here. The classic, you saw the classic logo. It was not finalized yet, and I was actually in the process of finalizing it there. So you got a little glimpse of what the original logo looked like. And we're still in the horizontal, if you noticed here. It's looking really, really good. And at some point you're gonna notice it's gonna go vertical. And there you go, it happened right there. So I'm trying things out here. I'm not sure how to fill that gap right now. So you're gonna see something here appearing, and this is a drawing that I actually did in the past, and I brought it back to try it out and to see it and just to test it out. So yeah, this is me testing things out. And eventually I settle on that picture from testing things out, and I'm trying to change that character's appearance a little bit because he was inspired by someone that I think you might know or recognize him, and you have to be transformative. You cannot take things one for one if you think there's a chance of any copyright infringements. So I added those baller glasses that we see in a lot of memes. So the video stopped here. This is basically what we got. This is the final result. This is where I stopped anyways, and I'm really happy with how she ended up with. She's got a really nice mysterious look about her, and little highlights and stuff, and I really love how you'll notice the foot actually stands out of the frame. It gives it like almost a three-dimensional aspect to her character, like she's sticking out of the picture. And I like the whole Japanese theme going on in the background. I hadn't planned on using this, but it filled that space really nicely, and it's all Japan, and the samurai is just something that I've always been in love with. I love Japanese culture in general, but anything samurai I will watch. I just enjoy everything about the samurai and what they stood for, what they did for their country. And I'm not sure Tom Cruise was a samurai, but even that in that movie that he was in, I enjoyed just the watching, you know, the whole experience of what it took to be a samurai and how serious they took it. You know, basically, if you failed, if more people took their lives every time they failed, my lords, I think we would work way harder at anything we actually tried at. So that's pretty much it. I don't know what you guys think of it. I hope you like it. I think it'll look great on a t-shirt. I wanted to bring you guys back here for just to discuss something that just occurred to me in the last couple of days. I've been drawing quite a bit. Even though you guys are watching my second design, I'm actually a couple of designs ahead of this, and there's some progression. I'm already seeing it in my workflow, and something occurred to me that, and you might have noticed this watching this video, I tend to do this, is I don't really have a distinct idea, but once I find something that works, I start to snowball off of it, and it ends up transforming and turning into something. And I often wondered, because I do this even in my day-to-day job, when I build rooms or I build anything in video games, whatever task I'm given, it tends to start off with something, and I try to evolve it, try to impress my art director, I try to also impress myself, and to me, the player benefits from all of this. But I often wonder, where did I get this ability? Is it really something from within? And I think it is, definitely, the need to create and to build stuff that is cool and, you know, not exactly in front of you, but it comes from you. But I think the habit came from definitely drawing, because I was drawing way before I ever built rooms and modeled anything in 3D. And I still remember doing that as a kid. I still remember starting off with an idea, and it often would evolve and change as I was going. And it was a nightmare because I worked in black and white, mostly on paper with an eraser, and I would have to erase things and go back, and it made everything messy. And that's where you got the habit of copying your own work with a blank piece of paper, because, you know, your iterations would show in the parts that you wanted to stay white, basically. So that was the realization. There's definitely a parallel between what I do now and what I used to do as a kid there. And it's all started with drawing. To me, it just signals that drawing is a really good way to work your creative muscle. And well, by today, it's possibly the only muscle that I'm actually still using. Everything else is kind of falling apart. But it's fun to still have that muscle working, basically, and I see that it's gonna benefit me possibly again. You know, it just keeps benefiting me. But I want to share that with you because if you're somebody who's thinking of drawing, or you have somebody in your family who's drawing, encourage them. Encourage them. My dad actually encouraged me a lot with my imagination. He encouraged me with the drawing. He encouraged me to play. And because when you're playing, well, as a boy anyways, I can't speak for girls, but I think it's the same. You're creating a story with your toys, and you're imagining a story, and you don't know what the story is. You have an idea sometimes, and it would develop into a whole thing, and you would change it as you would play. That's your imagination, and it could serve you extremely well later on in life. So tell your kids to pick up a pencil and see where it leads them, and you'll see that if they do take to it, it's going to be a skill that they might actually use later on. I know it was for me. But that's pretty much it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys like and subscribe to the videos, and let's get together on the next one.